got where I wanted to be. I had my nice job, company car, had the boyfriend, we lived in a beautiful house, the doggy, like dream life. All of the boxes ticked, I was done. As I was sitting there, I was just so stressed from my job. I was totally stressed, felt like I never had time, and I was just wondering, like, is this it? Like, is this my life?
Hey, it's Taryn, the remote yogi, and today I am so excited to be introducing you to Lara from her Backpack Bliss. She's going to be one of our newest guest teachers on the Remote Yogi Tribe, bringing in some Belgium energy and accent to the tribe. I love having some foreign teachers, and also just has a really unique story. We really related when we had coffee the other day, and knew she would have some good words of advice for you guys, whether you're diving into yoga, having some kind of midlife crisis prior to midlife, like a lot of us. So yeah, we're just going to dive into her story today and yoga and all the magical healing that takes place there. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. A bit nervous, but
yeah, I know it's a lot. We've got cameras like all over and lots of things happening, but no stress. So tell us just what got you into yoga to begin with. Let's start there.
Well, to be honest, I was practicing yoga for a long time before, but just occasionally. I went to a class, then I didn't go for a couple of weeks, and then I did it more, but I never really committed to yoga, and I didn't really get what it was all about. It was more an exercise kind of thing. Until I went to quite a spontaneous backpacking trip to India with my brother, where I really experienced the deeper meaning of knowledge and the deeper meaning of yoga and the wider practice. So being more than just physical exercise, but also including the breathing techniques, the pranayama, the meditation, and more about the history and culture of it all. And after which I went back to Belgium, of course. I thought, yes, I'll deepen my yoga practice now. But I felt a bit lacking, I went to classes, but then I still was missing those new aspects of yoga that I discovered in India. And I decided that I really wanted to deepen my own practice and do a yoga teacher training someday. But I didn't make it really specific. I just thought, like, I'll do it, I'll go back to India and I'll do my yoga teacher training. As like a future plan, which is something I was super good in. I was always making plans for the future. I was never living in the now,
Right, yeah.
And I think in the end I ended up going to India a couple of years later. And yoga really helped me live more here and now. I'm still struggling with it, but I know a lot of people tend to be stressful about things that happened in the past, or like thinking about things they said or done that are not how they want it to be, and that gives you stress, or you're fantasizing about the future and you're worrying about the future and setting goals, and all the meanwhile you're not focused on where you are right now and how you're feeling and what makes you happy.
That's about that connection to here and now, and that's one of the beautiful things about your story as well as mine and most teachers I talk to is we started for the physical practice. It was like all about like getting fit or being flexible and whatever. And the beauty of yoga is because we're moving with intention, because we're moving with the breath and diving in, eventually we start to get a little bit curious about the philosophies and the background and, moving beyond yoga on the mat and how to take that into off the mat. How do we kind of live in that practice?
Exactly. That's exactly what it did for me, from the physical to bringing it more into my daily life. It took a while, and it's still an ongoing practice.
Oh yeah, I walked out my first class like, I'm going to teach this one day, and then it took me 5 years to become a teacher. I mean, that's how it happens.
Indeed. You need time, I think. You need time to prepare, and you need to be kind of ready for it.
Yeah.
And even after I did my training, I was like, no, I'm not. Or when I was doing my training, I was telling my brain, no, I don't want to teach. I just want to deepen my own practice. I really don't want to teach. It's just for myself to be able to practice on my own. But then having finished my first training, I was so hooked and I wanted to know more that I did a second training immediately after. And after that I was really like ready to teach. I wanted to teach. And during the training itself, you stand in front of the rest of your group and you guide them through their practice. And for me, that was such a great experience to just guide others through a mindful practice like yoga. And for myself also to be there, because I have a huge fear of standing in front of a group. That's something that terrifies me to death, public speaking. So I thought like yoga will not, like teaching yoga, no. But I noticed I was super nervous when I sit down in front of the group. But as soon as you get started with the class, that kind of falls away and you're just, as you said, grounded and you're just here and now.
Yeah.
And it just flows, which is just for me an amazing feeling.
Yeah. I've always felt like those people who are really ready to teach and meant to teach, there's still the nerves, there's still the chaos. But as soon as you get moving and you're in front of the class, like everything just starts to click and it's like you get to the end of it and you're like, I don't even know what happened all class. I just like was in my element doing my thing, right? Like just having a good time.
Exactly. Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's also like for a lot of other people who are like getting into teaching or like kind of stepping into maybe more of a role, whether it's in yoga or anywhere in life, like just kind of taking that step and letting it fall in. Like there's always going to be the fear, right?
Exactly.
I creep up. So you said that you kind of used yoga as the physical practice, and then you used yoga as a way to change your lifestyle and parts of your life. Can you tell us a little bit more about like the lessons yoga taught you that you implemented?
Yeah, sure. So, as I said in the beginning, I was, and I still am, but it's getting better. I was always living in the past and in the future. I was setting goals. I wanted to get my university degree. I wanted to get this job. I wanted to get a better job. I wanted to get a house, a boyfriend. And I went through life just going after those goals, not really focused on what I was doing now. And if that was bringing me any joy, I was just focused on getting where I needed to be, somewhere in the future. Until in the end, I got where I wanted to be. I had my nice job, company car, had the boyfriend, we lived in a beautiful house, the doggy, like dream life. All of the boxes ticked, I was done. And as I was sitting there, I was just so stressed from my job. I was totally stressed, felt like I never had time, and I was just wondering, like, is this it? Like, is this my life? Is this, like, what do I do now?
Right.
And I was not even 27 then. My doctor had helped me home from work 2 times, and she was just like, Lara, you're going towards burnout. It's not healthy. So I was just in a really bad place, physically, mentally, emotionally. I was just like going towards that burnout and feeling just unhappy and stressed. And in that moment, I just decided something needs to change. And I really remembered that feeling I had when I was back in India, in Rishikesh, on top of the rooftop from an ashram, just sitting there. And for the very first time in my life, I felt at ease and I felt here and now and present. And I just figured I need to try and bring that into my daily life. I need to find a way to let go of the stress, let go of all the hastiness, and let go of the planning, and try and be here now and not think that much about my goals and my future, but just do what I want to do for the first time in my life and figuring out what is it that I want to do, because I never focus on what I wanted to do, but what I had to do or should be doing.
Obligations and like what you thought life was supposed to look like. And you were saying when we chatted the other day that like, especially in Belgium, there's this, what were you saying? It's like a brick in your stomach.
Yeah.
It's like raised with the idea of like, you grow up, you get the house. Like that's really like your only goal.
That's what we're supposed to do. Like you go to school, you get a job, you get a partner, and you build or buy a house. That's the Belgian dream. It's really weird for a Belgian person to just be like, nope, done with that. I'm just leaving all that security, all the stability behind, and I'm just going. I pack a backpack and I'm just leaving the country on a one-way ticket. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, again, we also bonded over the checklist things. I've always said that, like, I was checking off my to-do list, like, bought the house, got the husband, like, and then I sat there also like, and it's because, you know, when we're chasing happiness and these, like, future things that we're supposed to want or whatever, and we're chasing that fulfillment and something that's going to take place later instead of what's taking place right now, we're like never fully satisfied in anything.
No, exactly. It's that lack of satisfaction that leaves you with that feeling like, is this it? Because you're not satisfied, you're not happy, you're just thinking about the next thing that you should be doing, and what you think you want, but in reality, often when you then get to your goal, get what you want, like, it's not bringing me any happiness or joy. You know?
Yeah. And for me, that was also like the stem of so much of my anxiety. And of course, like, I love that you also said that, like, this is still a thing, because I always tell my students, yes, I teach other people how to help their anxiety. Yes, I teach other people how to deal with stress and self-love and things. This is still something I deal with every day. It's not something that just, like, magically poofs away. And one of the biggest things for me was, like, making the right decisions, or, like, the right next step. That still brings me so much anxiety, because my brain is constantly bouncing between, like, what I should be doing versus what I desire, and sometimes I can't even tell the difference between them in my brain, because we're so conditioned to, like, live a certain way, right?
Exactly, yeah. I still have the same thing too, like, that what should I be doing now? Because I'm now traveling a lot, I'm working online, and then I'm thinking, okay, so I'm working online, I should be doing something with marketing, because I used to be a marketing manager. But do I have to be doing something with marketing because I was that? Do I like it? No, but it's just the logical thing, I should be doing it, and you're not thinking about it. And that's something that yoga helps me with too every day, because it is an ongoing process. It's not like I do yoga and all my problems are gone.
Yeah.
I'm living in the now, and I'm zen, and I'm grounded, and
You never have any crazy emotions.
nope, I'm so stable. No, so it is something that I keep working with or working on, and during a lot of my meditations and yoga practice, I try to tap into what I'm feeling and what I need and what I think I need, or like trying to find what's reality and what are images I have of things that should be happening, just because you're raised for 20 plus years in a certain way. It's normal that those things will, like, those patterns don't disappear, like,
Right.
in a week.
Right. Even though we get very impatient, that they're
Yeah.
not. When it's also comes back to, like, the physical practice, I'm sure you've noticed as well, like, there's only so much we can do for us mentally. You know, when we're in, like, these crazy spirals where we're, like, debating things and our brains are kind of all over the place with anxiety and stress, you can't think your way out of it most of the time, right? Like, that's what got you into it. Using the physical body, getting back into the physical practice, that's what kind of helps us to, like, move out of it, right?
Exactly. Because, and I think a lot of people can probably relate to this, I used to say I'm very bad at meditation. Because, and as my yoga teacher used to say, one of my yoga teachers, because of our monkey minds. And I have a, like, ADHD monkey mind. It's all over the place. And I used to sit in meditation and think. I was making to-do lists. I was thinking about what I had to do, have done. Like, everything was going through my mind, just because I also had that pressure of quiet your mind, stop thinking. Like, my mind, if you tell me to stop thinking, I'll be thinking, you know? So I was like, no, I'm really bad at meditation. I can't meditate. Before I learned that you don't have to stop your thinking to meditate. But for me, yoga and the physical asana flow became a form of meditation, because I was so into my body, connected to my breath, going from movement to movement, that there was no space to be thinking about something else. That was just my way of really coming into here and now, and that was like a movement meditation for me. And of course, sometimes my mind wandered away, like it will always do.
Because we're human. Like,
Yeah.
whoopsie, you win.
I was thinking, shoot me.
And I love that you said that too, like you telling yourself, like, stop thinking. Like, that's just going to make it way worse. Like, tell your mind to stop thinking about a specific thing. That's all you're going to think about. I was telling you about this when I did that meditation retreat. The monk was like, they were super adamant about like not thinking sexual thoughts. So what was I doing the whole damn time? Every like sexual thought on the planet, like vivid memories popping up. And you know, it's one of those things, if you're trying to force your brain to do something, that's not the way it works, right? You've got to kind of like let go. For me, meditation's more about, there's this beautiful quote, and I can't remember what it is exactly, but it's like, you know, it's like your mind's a house, right? You've got the front door open, you've got the back door open. Just don't invite those thoughts for tea, right? It's like, just let them pass in and out without getting caught up in them and inviting them to stay.
Exactly.
That's meditation to me.
Yes, exactly.
Mm. And I know you also talked about some of the issues you've had with traditional trainings, some of the differences between like a Western training versus an Indian training, and even just in the way you were describing meditation about you have to do it this way, right? We have a lot of that happening in the yoga community.
Yeah.
And part of why I brought you on as a teacher is because you are so much about it being your own practice, and that's so important to me. What kind of got you into that mindset of like, oh, there's no one way of doing yoga, even though you were traditionally trained like that?
Well, I did 2 different yoga teacher trainings, and the first one was it was in an ashram, very structured, very traditional, and I walked away from that training with multiple injuries because it was so intense. It was also winter time in Rishikesh, so my body was always cold, and if you then start to stretch your body intensely, that's not healthy. Like your body will not like that. Mine didn't. And I walked out of that training after those 200 hours with a lot of injuries and like inflammations in my body. But I also felt I wanted to learn more and I wanted to deepen my practice. So I immediately went out looking for a second school, which was quite intense because 200-hour trainings back to back are a lot. But my second training was amazing. It was Hatha Vinyasa. And my teachers were so different, all of them. We had a couple of traditional Indian teachers, but for example, our anatomy teacher was an Austrian, a female Austrian physiotherapist. We had a Swedish teacher giving us alternative meditation teachings. So we had a very diverse team of faculty. I don't know how to call it. And they had so many differences in between themselves, and that training differed so much from the first training I did, which I also value highly because it taught me a lot about discipline and the history of yoga,
right,
and what it's all about. But the second one gave me more of a freestyle vision on it, and I felt like it gave me the permission to take whatever is valuable for me and what works for my body and my mind, and work with that. And for example, I love Vinyasa yoga, I love Yin yoga. I don't like Ashtanga yoga, and that's okay, you know? And it's stuff like that that I just feel like I take what works for me and I teach what works for me, because that's the only way to be authentic as a teacher. Mm-hmm. And there will be students who will connect with my teachings and my style, and there will be students who don't.
Yeah, thank God for that. You can't teach everyone.
No, no. Because that's actually one of the sayings of my the founder of my second yoga teacher school, or the second training I did. He said, not everybody likes chapati. And chapati is
Indian bread.
Indian bread. And he was just like, somebody will like your style and others won't like it. And that's okay. Right. You don't have to try and please everybody. Mm-hmm. So, and that's why I feel so comfortable to just do my thing and just try to keep it as safe for others as possible, and for myself, of course, because I had those injuries. And I am really mindful of not pushing my body to keep it safe and healthy, mm-hmm. and also try to encourage others to keep it safe and healthy, and don't push their body into movements that your body sometimes just is not made
designed
for.
to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we talked a lot about this too. Like there's this culture that happens in the yoga community where ego takes place, and it's no longer about the healing energy of yoga. It's about like, how can I get my body into this really cool acrobatic position? And it's ego based and not healthy for the body. And what happens is you've got people in the yoga community who are going, this is the only way to do the pose. This is the right way, the perfect way to do the pose, and anything else is wrong. And that's completely inaccurate. And I think for students who are just getting started, especially, or who aren't designed to do the perfect Ashtanga practice, they don't have the right like arm length or the right hip, whatever, it makes them feel immediately inadequate. And I think that that's so wrong. Each body is designed to do yoga the way that they're meant to do yoga. I'm going to guide you on how to do it the safest way, because there's ways to do it in an unsafe way.
Exactly. Yeah.
But other than that, do what feels good,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly that. Because I always cringe when people say, I can't do yoga, I'm not flexible enough.
Yeah.
But it's not about the flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
It's just about that time you take to practice and be with yourself. And you don't have to be able to like fold into or do a headstand or I don't know what. You don't have to have that perfect alignment and that fully advanced asanas.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what it's about. Like if you get there, fine, enjoy yourself doing it.
Yeah.
But that's not the ultimate goal for me.
Yeah. And when your yoga is goal oriented, you lose the beautiful art that you talked about earlier of just being happy with where you're at in the present moment. We get caught back into that goal setting, that future, like I'll be happy with my yoga practice when I can do a headstand.
Yeah.
And then I'll be exactly happy for where you are right now and happy baby, Like, it's a great place to be.
Oh, I love Happy Baby. That's like one of my favorite poses.
Me too.
I'm just like, oh. Yeah, no, but that's exactly it. And also the funny thing is, if you're really goal-oriented in your yoga practice, the moment you get at that posture where you want it to be, and you're like, yes, I can do like full royal pigeon or I don't know what, then you'll set the next goal. And the next one, and the next one. So, and it's the same as I was doing with my goal setting for university or job.
Yeah.
You lose there's no satisfaction because you'll always find the next thing to do. While you forget to enjoy the moment you're in right now and the journey you're taking. Because you're just focused on what's coming, what's next, what's better, what's bigger.
Yeah. How can I take the coolest photos on Instagram? Yeah. And now that we're like traveling a lot as well, I'm sure you're seeing even more of that. Just kind of the yoga just to show how great we are kind of yoga, which again, I'm so grateful for social media because that's how I've been able to build this amazing community, but just being aware of like what's reality and what's presented on platforms is different, which again I really appreciate about your branding on her Backpack Bliss. Like your Instagram's got like you doing simple poses, some cool poses too, but like that's not realistic to have that as your everyday life.
It's not. I want to stay down to earth. And in my daily practice, my own personal practice, I enjoy being grounded. I enjoy being close to the floor. I enjoy seated position, twists, forward folds. But headstands, scorpions, they're not in my daily practice. So I'm not going to be doing them on social media just to look cool. Or try to, if there's posture that I'm not able to do now, try to get there to be able to put them on my social media accounts. That's not what I'm doing. For me, it's really not about how I look or what I'm able to do. It's about connecting, and that's also something I want to share with others and not be that like yogi in the bikini shorts and sports bra on the beach doing like I don't know what.
I mean, there's time and place.
Time and place for everything.
For everything. But yeah, like just being real.
But yeah, like I'm I'm not perfect. I'm not the perfect yogi. Some of my postures, even the simple ones, sometimes are not perfectly aligned.
Oh no, I'm always needing adjustments.
And that's something that I really want to show. Like, I'm real. I'm just doing me, and if you can connect with that, that's amazing. If not, also good.
Yeah. And again, like that's why I'm so excited to have you on the tribe, because that's really like a lot of our culture is just showing up as yourself every day, being happy with where you're at every day. It's great to set intentions for moving forward, but without setting your foundation in gratitude, it's pointless. You're just going to constantly be stressed. And the point of you starting the yoga practice was to be calmed down, and it's just when you use your yoga practice to get you more anxious, like that I don't get it. But speaking about the tribe and that sort of thing, and you're just joining now, but what was some of the things that got you interested in hopping on and being a part of this community?
Wow, a lot. I'm just so inspired by. I was looking at the platform even before I was a member, but just at the blog, and I was just looking at the down-to-earth way. It is talking to beginning yogis who have been practicing for a longer time, and just sharing real information and knowledge and experiences, which is truly amazing. Also, the challenges about the self-love and anxiety, because I feel a lot of us are struggling with anxieties, and sometimes that's small anxieties. It's not something that really is controlling your life, but it's something that is within you and you want to work on. And that can go to like full-blown anxieties, laying on the floor of your bathroom as you are.
As I said, yeah.
Like you said in your story.
Pure panic attacks. Yeah.
So, and for me myself, I've also struggled with anxiety and panic attacks. Not full-blown lying on the floor, just like needing a paper bag and breathe. Breathe. And the nightmares and stuff like that, because you're just constantly anxious and that energy is building up inside of you and needs to come out. And I just love the honesty about that, just trying to be a platform to help others, inspire others, to deal with that, the anxiety, the self-love, and to grow in a down-to-earth, normal way, because a lot of the coachings and platforms out there are really like out there and like 7-week challenge to ultimate happiness or something,
Yeah.
And that's not realistic. Like, if you're struggling with anxiety, you're not going to be able to solve it or cure it in 7 days. It's a process, and it takes a lot of time and practice, and probably there will always be like a little anxious part inside of us.
Every day.
It's not,
Yeah.
And I just love that honesty about it, because that was something I could really connect with. The authenticity, which is something I want to believe I bring to the table every day, and I also bring into my classes, just being real. And I feel that's something that is easy for me to rely on, connect to, and just feel like, this fits, this works, This is a place where I can feel at home, even if it's online, there's a community.
The community, I think that's my biggest thing too, is when we are feeling anxious or we're going through all these things, the community thing's lacking. We always feel like we're alone, like we're the only ones dealing with this. And for a lot of people, they have access to yoga at home or like at their local studio or whatever, but people who are seeking yoga online either can't make it to the studio because of time crunches or babies, or they're traveling the world, or whatever the reason might be, expenses. When we move yoga online, it eliminates the community, and that was such a big problem for me when I was first looking for online teachers. So that was a big thing I wanted to create, was like, how can I bring in a sense of like, we're really here to support each other, whether it's through my live calls or like the group Facebook pages, and then bring in other teachers too who can like support me in giving a different style and a different story, because I think my story is relatable, but your story might be more relatable to somebody else, or and that's important.
Yeah.
That sense of like, I'm not in this alone.
Yeah, it is, and especially because for me myself, I'm traveling a lot. I've been traveling for over a year now, and meeting others who are traveling, we tend to talk about the same struggles, I notice, and the one thing is having that community, that network,
Consistent.
the like-minded people around you. So that, because we all feel lonely from time to time, that's normal, that's okay, and that's a feeling you can sit with. But it's also very nice, because we're human beings, we're social beings, to have that network, that tribe, that community, where you have that sense of belonging, even though you're like, I might be in Bali right now and in Thailand tomorrow, or back at home in Belgium next month. There is that consistency of that group of people that I can relate to and that I can feel at home with.
Yeah. And even if you don't travel, so many of my members don't travel, but they're in a community where they maybe don't feel like they belong. And so finding that online belonging is really important. Beautiful. We're kind of wrapping it up with a few last questions.
Okay.
I'd love for you to share where people can find you online, a little bit more about what you do outside of yoga and the tribe.
Okay, so I have a website that started out as a travel blog. It's called Her Backpack Bliss. So it started out as a travel blog, hence the backpack.
And your tagline is so great. Please share it.
My tagline is from "Is this it?" to "Finding bliss." So it really is about that feeling stuck in your job or wherever, just that feeling of being stuck and frustrated and stressed, to moving away from that and finding your own bliss, whatever that may be. You don't have to quit your job and start traveling like I did. Like you don't have to. There's other ways you can do it. But it's just trying to go to what brings you joy, what brings you energy, when are you in your flow, and trying to be happy now and not try to be happy in the future. So that's my website, my blog. I also have an Instagram account, also called Her Backpack Bliss, on which you can see me do very basic and down-to-earth yoga asanas, and just random travel pictures, mostly tropical Thailand. I've been in Thailand for a while, in Bali now, so most pictures are from those areas of the world. And then next to being a yoga teacher, I'm also a content writer. So I write content for yoga studios and retreat centers, basically. I just love writing for those specific businesses because I can relate to them so easily. It's what I love to do. I also love to keep learning about yoga. And I tend to connect better, of course, with people who have the same values and interests as I do. So I focus on doing the content writing for yoga studios and retreats, but I also do Instagram marketing for them. Full Instagram account management, from content writing to picture selection, planning, everything.
Yeah, help with like the SEO and all of that. So like if you're in the yoga world, got a studio or trying to build online and you need some extra help, like she's definitely someone to go to.
Yeah, sure. And also because I focus on yoga studios and retreat centers, but I've also worked with other purposeful entrepreneurs, let's say, in the past, like vegan bakeries, coaches, massage therapists, businesses like that who really focus on making others happier and healthier. Just because that is something that I want to contribute to, you know. If I'm not making others happier and healthier by myself, I want to at least be able to help those entrepreneurs get their message out, either via SEO and content writing or via Instagram and social media marketing.
Which I think is such a beautiful way to remember that, like, if you're not in the place yet where you can step out and, like, you know, do the business that you want to be doing, or, like, really getting involved with whatever work you want to be doing, you can still use your talents to contribute to the other organizations that might be doing your dreams. And so if you're feeling kind of stuck in a place where you're not able to dive straight into what you want to be doing with your life, knowing that you can, like, use your talents help other organizations who are doing that until you can take that leap. So I love that you're doing that as well, kind of using what you're already good at to make a difference. So very good. My last question for you, my lovely new friend. If you were like just getting started with yoga, or like what would you give advice-wise for somebody who's getting started with yoga or kind of trying to figure out the whole yoga thing? What was your one piece of advice you would give them?
Well, if you're already here, great start.
Perfect.
Perfect. Then you're already like on a good way. No, personally, I would think that it's super important to find a couple of people you connect with, a couple of teachers, be it online or in real life, local studio, and try out different things, different styles of yoga. Because as I said, I don't like Ashtanga yoga. In the beginning, before I was a yoga teacher and I just did like random classes, I had no idea what Ashtanga was and what Hatha was and what Vinyasa was and the difference. So I would just advise you to try different styles, try different teachers, because if you do Ashtanga, if I teach you Ashtanga and you teach the same person Ashtanga, the class will be completely different. So try out different things and see what connects with you. And also try to find relatable teachers. As we said, like you have beautiful Instagram accounts with like amazing yoga poses, beautiful pictures, nicely edited, like perfect life, which is beautiful and it's nice to look at. But it can also set the bar very high, and then you quite easily fall into that goal setting yoga practice. So I would just advise to try things out and keep it down to earth and just take it one step at a time. Don't try to rush into anything. And also try to go a bit further than only the physical asana practice, because a lot of the gyms that offer yoga, and that was my gym at home too, there's a yoga class, but it's you get in, you sit down, and you start doing asana after asana after asana, and then at the end, maybe we say namaste, and everybody goes home, but there's no time for breathing, there's no time for meditation and really arriving in your practice and preparing for your practice or ending your practice in a mindful way. And I feel if you take that time, for me it's easier to take that calmness or that state of mind that I get from yoga into the rest of my day. And it's not just a form of physical exercise.
Yeah. Well, and I like what you said about the playing around with different teachers and things. And I would say also, if you're going to a local studio or if you're looking into some of my videos online or whatever it is, ask the teachers, hey, I'm looking to get a really relaxation-based class. Like, I'm looking to relieve stress. I'm really looking to, like, get a workout. Like, I'm feeling very stagnant and I'm needing the workout. Let them know what your goals are, because if you don't know what kind of yoga you're going into, you could be going in for that fitness thing and you walk into a restorative class where they have you in a pose for 20 minutes, you're going to hate it, right? And that's where people get to have this, like, I tried yoga and I didn't like it kind of thing, because they didn't understand what their goals were and how they related to the classes they were taking. So especially with my stuff, if you guys ever have any, questions about like, hey, I'm looking for yoga that's going to help me with XYZ, I can point you in the right direction as far as what styles might be best. So and ask. Like, if you're going to a studio, that's what they're there to do, is to help direct you. So don't be afraid to ask a lot of questions.
Exactly. Because I actually had a conversation with a friend the other day, and she was basically the same person. I tried yoga, didn't like it. I was like, but what do you want from yoga? And she was like, yeah, I have my physical exercise, I do the strength training, but I just want to have a deep stretch and a relaxation. It's like, okay, let's try yin yoga, let's try restorative yoga. Stay away from everything that's Ashtanga,
power
Vinyasa,
yoga,
power, core yoga, like all, just leave that be and you just focus on restorative, yin, and maybe if you feel a bit more active, you can do some hatha, but no flow, no vinyasa, just hatha. And she's like writing it down, like, okay. And that makes a huge difference, like what you want and the type of class you're taking. Like you have tons of
options.
Yeah. So choose something you like, try around, and then find your thing.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be afraid to experiment. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this interview today. Of course, if you guys are watching this on YouTube or Facebook, head over to the blog, theremoteyogi.blog. We'll have lots more about everything that Lara is up to and links to get back to her website and see what she's up to. And if you're watching this, make sure to subscribe. Come back next week. We're here every Friday with a new video, whether it's a new meditation, yoga, interviews like this, or me just rambling about some awesome topic that I feel like discussing that day. So tune in. Thank you guys so much for being here. Namaste.
Namaste.